In regard of this personal conversation, we shouldn't put our guard down. We still have to talk at the White House. 2 days ago, I also talked with the current president in Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, whom I have known since it all began. I invited her to Colombia. We want to establish a three-way dialogue, or hopefully global dialogue, to avoid a conflict within its own society which could explode just like the Colombian society did.
Colombia, Gustavo Petro, in a few weeks. Do you hope this meeting with Gustavo Petro marks a new chapter, a new beginning in the benefit of the U.S. and Colombia relations?
What country?
Colombia, with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro.
I had a very good talk with him yesterday, and he's been very hostile to us and to the nation and to me, called me a dictator and lots of other things. Called Biden some terrible names, far worse than he called me. But he called yesterday through people, and he wants to meet, and that's fine with me. I've made up with people also, So we're going to have a meeting with him. We had a very good conversation. The people of Colombia are incredible people. Marco would know that better than anybody because he's married to a woman from Colombia. And I don't mean Columbia University. That would be, I'm not sure. I think I like Colombia, the country, better, if you want to know the truth. The people, hold it. The people are great people. I look forward to meeting with them. We're going to meet in the very near future.
The warning came from Washington, and it sent shockwaves across Latin America. After the U.S. military operation in Venezuela, after the capture of Nicolás Maduro, President Donald Trump made it clear the United States is watching, and it is ready to act. But in Bogotá, alarm bells are ringing. Colombian President Gustavo Petro now says the stakes are far bigger than Venezuela, much bigger. Speaking to CBS News after his first direct conversation with President Trump, Petro issued a stark warning. Any U.S. attack on Colombia, he said, would ignite a civil war and push the region toward catastrophe. Petro says he welcomed Trump's invitation to the White House, but his goal, he insists, is not power, not politics, not oil. His goal, he says, is to stop a world war. Petro revealed that Venezuela dominated their private discussion, even if Trump never named it outright. According to Petro, both leaders agreed on one thing: communication must be restored, because lies, misinformation, and silence, he warned, are the fastest paths to war. Petro also acknowledged his fear watching helicopters and missiles over Caracas, in a region with fragile defenses and fragile peace. If something happens here, he said, if the president of Colombia is targeted, it would be dumb policy and disastrous. Petro believes Trump favors shared governance in Venezuela, but with one condition: control of oil. While Petro opposes U.S. control over Venezuelan crude, he admits both leaders distrust opposition figure Maria Corina Machado, even as polls show massive popular support for her inside Venezuela. The divide is deep, the future uncertain. But Colombia's defense minister, Pedro Arnulfo Sánchez, is trying to cool tensions. He insists a U.S. attack on Colombia is unlikely, calling the country one of Washington's strongest democratic allies and a key partner in the global war on drugs. Sánchez says communication with the State Department and Pentagon has intensified, not collapsed, and misinformation, he warns, nearly derailed relations.
I don't believe the United States will attack a nation that has democracy, or one of the oldest democracies on the continent, against a democratically elected, legitimate president, against the country that could be considered the most important strategic partner the United States and the world have in the fight against drug trafficking. Now, quite the opposite. I have full confidence that we will continue advancing in strengthening capacities to defeat criminals. And in all these tensions, we always interact and say the backbone of democracy rests on security and defense. And that security and defense must remain hand in hand with international cooperation. We have been interacting constantly with the Department of State and Department of War, United States. Not only with those over there in the United States, but also with representatives here in Colombia, with the embassy, with members of Congress all the time. Obviously, that interaction increased due to the tensions that arose in recent days. And the goal is, let's work together. Let the nations win and let the criminals lose. The main threats to sovereignty and democracy, I could say, come from here, from within, and that is why we have this internal conflict, not with the United States. What we have and what we see are two nations on the same continent fighting a common enemy. Trump has said that Colombia, quote, is a sick country, that President Petro is a manufacturer, he's a drug trafficker, words more, words less. Does this change in any way the rhetoric or action of the military forces regarding the fight against drug trafficking? Around the decisions or statements made by different people, in this case the President of the United States, misinformation also reaches them. Here, sometimes it also happens in the ministry or at the government level, where misinformation reaches decision makers from ill-intentioned people, and they perceive a very different reality. So that meeting, that conversation that the President of the United States had with the President of Colombia allowed many things to be clarified. So much so that it gave President Donald Trump a lot of confidence, and he said it was an honor to speak with the President of Colombia. So we are going to talk there and find some solutions to differences that may exist between nations. But we are in an era where problems are solved by talking. He already recognizes with that conversation and with what we have shown that Colombia, for example, in this government period, 2,800 tons have been seized, which is equivalent to approximately 47 billion doses of cocaine that did not reach the streets of consumer countries. Cocaine factory? Here, what we do is destroy it. But we have also extradited almost more than 800 people to different parts of the world, where the main recipient is the United States, and where the main crimes for which they were extradited is drug trafficking, and where 60% also of the drugs seized worldwide are the product of Colombian intelligence. So if there is someone who has fought drug trafficking vehemently, it is Colombia. Minister, what is your personal perception regarding U.S. pressures? Do they threaten our country's sovereignty? I see it as a great opportunity interacting with them. We said, well, how can we further strengthen this relationship between drones, anti-drones, armored vehicles, to declare common objectives we have, like the ELN, and tell them there is no space for you here. The train de Aragua, 179 we have captured from these criminal groups of the train de Aragua. So it is simply, listen, this enemy is yours. This enemy is also ours, which are the drug cartels. Let's find greater synergy. No, what I see here is a huge opportunity to advance. Is Colombia still a strategic ally of the United States, Minister? It is, and it is a strategic ally of the world. The President of Colombia has said he is the president of life and peace and has raised his voice for wars to stop. The least we want is to generate wars, but defending democracy, defending sovereignty, does not mean raising tensions to generate a war. And it also does not mean tolerating the behavior of those who incite undermining national unity and territorial integrity, which are crimes that must be punished by the competent authorities. We cannot allow people to make statements, influence, or motivate actions that undermine national unity and sovereignty. Alias Ivan Mordisco is affected so critically. He is the criminal, the main drug trafficker of the southeast of the country, that he already calls for help from other drug cartels. On January 1st, a decisive action was carried out by the public force. They neutralized 11 criminals, among whom fell alias Polo, who was in charge of Ivan Mordisco's main ring. And we are looking for the body because we have information that they are hiding it in a jungle area. And you also saw that criminal of Mordisco all emaciated. He is not in the jungle. We know he isn't. And sooner than later, we will capture him. It is normal that they are interested in drug trafficking and protecting their business, drug trafficking. So they will try to unite, but among themselves, they also kill each other. Look at what happens in Catatumbo while the Calarca dissidents and the ELN kill each other. In southern Bolivar, they unite. So their mentality is purely trafficker, and among themselves, they kill each other. and we are prepared to face them fully and with very strong force. That is why we deployed more capacity in that border area. That is why we deployed more men, drones, anti-drones, and armored vehicles in Catatumbo mainly.
Yet, despite reassurances, Petro remains uneasy. He has told the BBC the threat of U.S. intervention is still real. An invitation to the White House now looms, set for early February.
Foreign leaders should respect us and seek advice because no one knows better than Colombia's security forces how to carry out confiscations without killing people, without killing Colombians. Mr. Trump should be less arrogant and instead show gratitude and honor the security forces who deserve it, rather than insulting them. And the slander and arbitrariness of those who are accustomed to firing missiles before asking questions and killing poor fishermen. We should be proud, very proud, and not hang our heads, but always tell the truth, because there is no force in the world capable of seizing so much cocaine in the history of that substance's existence anywhere on the planet other than the Colombian law enforcement agencies. And therefore, here we must promote to the highest rank the one who saves the most lives and not the one who causes the most deaths, because we are for freedom and not oppression.
But across Latin America, one question echoes louder by the day. Is diplomacy enough, or is the region inching toward its most dangerous confrontation in decades?